Hello everyone, very good afternoon. Today, as we know that we have gathered here for a webinar on an insight on business communication. So, without wasting any time, I would like to introduce our trainer, Mr. Ashish Parmar, a very knowledgeable soft skills trainer, having an extensive work experience of around 30 years. He is a master's degree in business administration from the University of North Texas, USA. He is currently working as the HOD, the head of the Department of Career Development Cell at Parul University, and he has worked with eTech Incorporation as language and cultural trainer. Also worked with Balaji Academy as a senior trainer for IELTS and spoken English. So, sir, we request you to enlighten us with your knowledge and give some insights on business communication today. All over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati ma'am, for a great introduction. I welcome every one of you. Good afternoon to all. We are going to just take an insight into business communication. Now, communication skills is one of the most important skill or a quality one needs to have in order to sustain and survive in this competitive world, especially now that we have become a globalized village, all in one. English language communication has become extremely important for everyone. Um, we do communicate with people around, but it is very important when we become professionals in business environment. Learning the techniques and the strategies and the factors of communication properly is extremely important. So I would like to give you some insight to what is communication and what are the factors which are involved in it. What are the points that we need to understand and learn properly? So I'll give you a brief introduction on that. First of all, we need to understand what is communication. Let me present the screen to you, just a second. Just one second. Okay. I hope my screen is visible to everybody. Communication. What is communication? Communication is the word has derived from Latin word originally, that is communis. That word means common, and thus, if a person effects communication, he establishes a common ground of understanding. So this word communication, the root word is communis, which is in Greek, it means common, and connecting, commonly connecting to people. Literally, communication means to inform, to tell, to show, or to spread information. So basically, what communication means is to inform. We inform people by language. We tell people or we show something, and to spread information. It can be interpreted as an interchange of thought. A lot of people commonly communication means that exchanging of ideas or interaction between people, exchanging thoughts and ideas. That is basic understanding of communication. Communication is an exchange of facts, like I said, ideas. This is a very popular quote said by Mr. George Terry. Communication is an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more persons. Another quote by Mr. George Verdon: effective communication is purposive interchange resulting in workable understanding and agreement between the sender and the receiver of a message. So these are a few quotes. American Management Association said communication isn't behavior, any behavior that results in exchange of meaning or meaningful ideas. So these are the different quotes by different people about communication. Basically, it boils down to communication means exchange of meaningful ideas, receiving and decoding and encoding. We'll go to that detail. The elements or the factors in communication process. These are the following are the factors which are involved in the process of communication from the moment the message is sent by the sender and received by the receiver and then feedback. These are 5 components or 5 factors which are involved in communication. So first is the sender, then the message, then the media, receiver, and feedback. So sender is the person who sends the message. First, initiation, the message which is designed or developed, which media through the message has been sent. On the other side, the receiver receives the message, the understanding of the message, and then return in a feedback. So these are the 5 components in communication which we have to look at. The process of communication. Let us look at the diagram of the process of communication. This is how the communication happens. To be technical, the sender's thoughts. So the person who is going to speak or send a message to the receiver, the thoughts. First, the thoughts which come in his or her mind. Then the thoughts are encoded into a meaningful message. And then the message is transmitted through different media. The media may be verbal and non-verbal, directly speaking to one-on-one, or written message, or a video conferencing, or telephonic conversation, or any other type of media which is used in transporting or transmitting this encoded message. Then between the transmission and the decoding or understanding of the message, there are a lot of barriers which arise, which are noise and barriers, which may be external noise, internal noise, media problem, other barriers. So these are the barriers which we have to look at and have to be controlled. Then the message is once transmitted, then it is received, decoded by the receiver. The idea has been received by the receiver. The receiver then decodes or understands the idea and then replies in the form of feedback. So this is basically a technical diagram of communication, starting from sender's thoughts all the way to the receiver giving feedback, means returning the reply. So this is basically a diagram which we have. This is for understanding of our communication process. Communication means that it is between anybody, anywhere. We have social communication, we have teacher and student communication, we have different ways and different phases of communication, whereas we are going to look at business communication. In business communication, nowadays business communication has become very important because there are a lot of things that we have to communicate with different ways, different people, different companies, in different situations. So in business communication, these are the fundamental 4 pillars which are business communication is based on. The fundamentally based 4 pillars: listening skills, speaking skills, writing skills, and reading skills. So basically communication is comprised of these 4 pillars which are important. All of them, each one of them is important. Mostly when we are talking or we are thinking about communication, we think about talking only or speaking only. But that's not the only important part of communication. These four pillars are extremely important. Listening is also as important as speaking, writing also, reading also. I'll give a funny example of written communication skills, which sometimes becomes, hilarious or sometimes wrong also. Once I was taking a training as a trainer, and we were talk about our training. In the training, our trainer said that most of the employees, when you give them training, they will ask you the first question, that why do we need to have English communication skills training? Because most of the customers, most of the employees of banks and other institutions are involved in communicating with their customers. Now, customers are not necessarily English based people. They may be speaking Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, any other language. So the question arises that why do we need to learn communication skills in English? Where, as a business person, as a working class person, as an employee of a company, at the end of the day, you have to write your emails or your report at the end of the day of all day's work and send it in English to your superiors. And many of the time, when the company is like an international company, like for example ICICI Bank, that's an international bank. So the employee or the end person who is selling financial products will have to write an email at the end of the day to their superiors. And in email, they have to write whatever they have done. So when writing also is very important, because what you write is held against you or in favor of you at the end of the year when your salary review or your performance evaluation is done on the basis of what you have written. So writing also is extremely important. For example, one of the person wrote that, dear sir, I have to go to my village as my mother-in-law has died. And I am the only responsible person for it. That means that the whole communication became wrong. That reflected that the person who is writing the email is the one that has killed the mother-in-law, right? Another example that somebody wrote like a leave note, dear sir, kindly grant me 3 days leave as I have to go to my village to sell my land along with my wife. So that's a funny thing, but that's a reality. That is reality. These examples are not made up jokes. They are actual examples of leave notes written by employees of big companies to their bosses. So this kind of writing skills are also very important. Listening also is very important, because when you are listening to people communicating, you have to understand everything and you have to read between lines and understand what you exactly have to do. Reading also, when you read the email, sometimes when we go through emails, we are in hurry and we don't read the most important part of it and we miss it, and then the whole communication gets corrupted. So all these four skills in communication are extremely important. Equipped with these four skills, you will become a successful executive, manager, or professional in your own field. So when you master these four fundamental pillars of communication, you will become expert in your area. Whatever work you may be doing, you may be at a executive level or a managerial level or even a higher level professional. All these four skills are extremely important in order to be successful in our field. What is the meaning of communication is in business? Business, we don't mean business is opening a shop and selling something. Business means the whole corporate culture. So what is the meaning of communication in corporate and in businesses? It is all about communicating in business with certain standards professionally that are acceptable to all. So, communicating professionally is extremely important in business. How you communicate with people, in what manner you communicate with people, what are the words you're using with people, what are your gestures and postures. We will learn that later on in detail also when we have this seminar. Again, body language is also extremely important. So in business communication, professionalism is extremely important. It helps communicate effectively with etiquette and accomplish business objectives effectively. Words are very powerful. Words are mightier than sword. We have always heard this uh, quote that words are mightier than sword. So when you are dealing in your business environment, when you are dealing with your superiors or your subordinates or other companies, employees or personnel, your words, the way you communicate, the choice of words, the choice of sentence formations, everything becomes very important in order for you to be successful. It is broadly divided into these two categories. Communication can be divided into these two main categories: internal communication and external communication. Now, what do we mean by internal communication? Internal communication is in a business environment is the communication which is within the organization or within a department. The reports what we send, the memorandums what we say, the notes and proposals what we say, the basic communication in between people who are working in under one umbrella. That is called internal communication. Whereas external communication means the letters that you are sending to other people outside your company or your organizations, tenders, offer letters, requirement letters, complaint letters, appreciation letters, thanking letters. These are all external communications that falls into that category. Now, the main two parts, basic parts of communication, the main type of communication, verbal and non-verbal. Verbal and non-verbal. The verbal communication means the words which we are using either in written or in spoken manner. Verbal communication consists of speaking, listening, writing, reading, and thinking. These are the components of verbal communication. Whereas non-verbal communication, it is body language basically. Non-verbal communication is basically a body language. The research says that when a communication happens between two or more people, maximum communication happens with body language without even being aware of it, right? So your non-verbal communication, as in your body language, is extremely important. It is a wordless message which we send, conveyed through gestures, signs, postures, actions, movement, eye contact, eye movement, the way you sit, the way you stand, even the dressing in certain communicative environment. Your dressing sense is also a way of sending message to people. What clothes you wear, what kind of personality you possess sends out message to people without being said anything. Non-verbal communication can be identified by personal space, proxemics is the space that you carry between people when you're talking to professionals. One hand proxemics which you have to follow. Sense of smell, even sense of touch, and sense of time. Even your body language reflects your personality in time also. When you arrive at a meeting late and you sit without saying sorry, that is a body language which is very abrupt and negative. So verbal and non-verbal communications are the two parts of communication which we always use. Most of us are very much aware about our verbal communication when we speak or write or listen, but most of us are not very much aware of our non-verbal communication, and we use wrong non-verbal communication while we are communicating with people, which sends wrong messages to people, and your impression and your influence is tarnished by this behavior. Then again, we have two types of communication which are formal and informal. Formal communication, that is formally controlled by managers or people occupying positions in an organization. So formal communication is formal talks, meetings, memos, reports, all these are formal communication. Information flows orderly, timely, and accurately. These information is like, it is in order, it's properly, like one letter sent to the person, then the reply comes, and then the other response comes in timely and accurately. You are expected to return the reply in time. Accuracy is extremely important. Grammatical formations, spelling mistakes, and sentence formations, appropriate vocabulary, that is, everything is very much important in formal communication. Any information, decision, memo, reminders, etc. will follow this path in an organization. Whereas informal communication, it is not officially sanctioned, and quite often it is even discouraged. In business communication, formal communication is accepted and promoted very well. Informal communication is not accepted by people in a business environment. The language which we use in informal communication, the type of communication which we use, that is not good. For example, rumor, like I heard he said this, actually there is no fact behind it, and people pass on messages without being formal, and that results into negativity and disputes and disruptions in a function of an office. But then it is very much there. It existed, like what you call so-called grapevine. You know, people use this phrase when we say, "Oh, I heard through the grapevine that you are going to get promotion." What factor? That is no fact behind it. So that is what is called grapevine communication, which is, in other words, baseless rumors, which has no base, which has no power, or it has power, but which has no facts behind it. And that sometimes becomes a very dangerous way of communicating. So in business communication, grapevine communication is not promoted or accepted, precisely because it runs in all directions, horizontally, vertical, diagonal. Yeah, grapevine communication happens anywhere. It doesn't follow a proper channel or a proper escalation in chain, like a subordinate writing to his immediate supervisor, the immediate supervisor then writing to his manager, manager writing to the head, or whatever. It doesn't. Grapevine communication happens like a rumor anywhere. So that is not proper. In business communication, you should always avoid this kind of grapevine communication. Number 5, downward communication. Downward communication basically means that a communication which is flowing from top to the bottom, top level people to the bottom level people. Upward communication happens from the bottom level people to the hierarchical people. Horizontal and lateral communication happens between equal level of people, like in a meeting. And diagonal communication flows information among persons of different levels who have no direct reporting relationship. It's a general communication. So these are the different way of communicating: upward communication, downward communication, horizontal or lateral communication, and diagonal communication. what is the purpose of business communication? Business communication, these are the main purpose of business communication. In business communication, to inform, to persuade, to educate, to give information or teach something, to train people, to motivate people, to integrate teams, to convey goodwill, appreciation, and establish credibility. So these are the main purposes of learning business communication in a proper way. And in order to succeed as an employee or as a corporate person, you should learn the basic fundamentals of business communication properly and try to understand the purpose of it and the way to do it so that you can become very successful. This is all I would like to inform about today. I hope everybody's understood what was the purpose of this. Thank you very much. I would now give it back to Swati ma'am. Please take over. Thank you very much.
Yeah, unmute નથી થતું time to. Hello. Yes, Ashish sir, thank you so very much. It was really enlightening. Finally, I would like to thank you a lot for connecting with us and enlightening us with your knowledge. Today's webinar was definitely full of knowledge and it gave us deep insight into the topic. So once again, I would like to thank our management for giving us this, online platform to, have a session with Ashish sir. And thank you again for, sharing your knowledge with us. I request all the viewers, if they are interested, they can connect with us. Sir, shall I share my details here? Can I do that? See, this webinar was conducted by the Industry Academia Partnership Cell, that is a part of Training and Placement Cell. So, and my name is Swati Jain. You can get in touch with me anytime, on any such webinars or any such topics you're looking to get further. Definitely we can help you out with that. So thank you so much. I'll just share my contact details in case if anyone is willing to get in touch with me.
Thank you very much, Swati ma'am. And I would like to thank you as well as Parul management and Santosh sir also to give me the chance to share my knowledge today. It was a wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Same here, sir. Thank you so much. I'll just share my contact details, guys. Feel free to get in touch with me. Ashish sir, thanks again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Same to you. Thanks.